All right, we're back. You're live with Emma Foulkes and Andrew Snorton.
Hey, good to see you guys again.
And we are going to talk about documents when you do have a conversation with your parents. What do you talk to them about?
Well, I think you did a great job of showing how we can bridge into having that nuts and bolts conversation. One of the first things I think about is just life insurance. And people are like, well, only time you need life insurance is when you die, and that's not entirely true. No, seriously, based on the type of policy, if it builds up cash dividends, it's basically, you can borrow against it. So that can be emergency money. But one of the things that jumps out at me, and I'm sure a number of us have seen this, unfortunately when somebody passes, based on the part of the country they're in, if let's say a funeral costs, I don't know, is between what, 10 and 20,000?
Yeah, it could be up to 25. It can be a lot more.
Let's just use 20,000 as an argument. It's really hurtful when you see somebody putting a GoFundMe up there or pass the hat for something along those lines. And I know it's based on where your budget is, but even if you get a basic term policy for at least 25,000, it'll at least help absorb the majority of those costs and any other debts like credit cards if they had a car payment or something along those lines. So even if the best you can do is a term policy, at least have something in place so you're not having to scramble, because it's real sad when somebody passes and they gotta wait 2-3 weeks before you do this. That's just not cool, because to me, you want to try to get the process done in a week. Because if you let it linger, you let other things emotionally and whatnot linger, and you're trying to manage stuff as best as possible. So at least get a term policy if you can't afford one of the higher tier policies, and at least 25,000. If you can get more, then that's great. You're not going to win the lottery, but at least a lot of those essential debts or credits or whatever, at least you can get those paid down, and it'll help make a tough situation a little bit more manageable.
And what other documents? What other things do you think?
Oh, I'll tell you what, a will. People don't understand. You have to have a will, because otherwise, and you can go more detail on it in so many words, the state can come in and swoop down and take at least 50% of your assets.
It's not even that they come in and they don't take. It's not that they take it. There's a will. Whether you have a will written or not, there is a will for you, and it's done by the state of Georgia, and it was done a long time ago. So the state of Georgia will dictate what happens with your assets, who gets custody of your kids, who will be the executor of your estate. And if you love your family at all, have a will done. If you don't love your family at all, don't get a will.
Man, you better get, like they say, get right. If I'm not going to say his name, but get right with that celestial being up above and get that junk squashed. Like, seriously, but you hit the nail on the head. It's like, would you rather you being able to dictate what is in the best interest of your surviving spouse or kids or extended family, or do you want someone else to decide for you? It's almost like, who can tell your story better than you?
Yeah.
Nobody can. So why would you have somebody tell your story versus you do it yourself? And I guess to me that's like a very straightforward principle. Like you're saying, get a will done so you are basically calling the shots as to how you want things executed to the best of your ability. Otherwise, all your years of hard work and dedication or not that was alluded to with your family and what have you, you're having someone else tell you what to do.
And then in addition to the will, you want to make sure you have what's called a healthcare directive, which will dictate what happens to you when you're in the hospital. If you're close to passing, how you want to pass with dignity. And then also, a very important thing to have is a financial power of attorney.
And don't even say that. No, and the reason why I say that is because I know from experiences that I'm aware of, that situation can get totally jacked up. Like, you really need to, from what I've read, and you can go into it as deep as you want, from what I read, you want someone who is sensible, who is balanced, that understands the gravity of what you're dealing with, so they can execute in line with what really does make the most sense, but not for what makes the most sense for them, because there have been some bad decisions where you've put the wrong people in that position, and it's just horrible. It really is horrible what can happen. So if I'll put it like this, the uncle or cousin that you'd say to the kids, stay away from at the family reunion, chances are you don't want them around in taking on that role, because turning over in your grave is like an understatement.
Yeah, and that also goes for people that are like living paycheck to paycheck, that aren't used to or that can't hold on to money. That's not the person that you want to be your financial power of attorney. You want someone who doesn't keep using their ATM card because they have money in the bank. You need to make sure that whoever you select for that position is someone who has the ability to save and is very responsible with money.
Yeah, or just responsible in general. You know that if they make mistakes, it's mistakes due to effort versus you are just foolhardy. There's a difference between the two.
And now another important document that you want to ask your loved ones, your older loved ones about is an insurance called long-term care. And long-term care insurance, a lot of times people get confused about what Medicare covers and what Medicaid covers. Medicaid is for people who are at that poverty level, and then Medicare is what everybody else gets, and then it comes out of your Social Security. And Medicare does not cover assisted living. Medicare does not cover having a nurse come in and stay with you. So you do want to talk to an insurance agent about a long-term care policy, and find out, you want to ask your parents whether they have one, how much it covers, and how long it lasts. And those are very, very important things to ask. And if your parents don't have it, you may want, and again, this is having that financial meeting, pull your siblings into the meeting if you have them. And if your parents can't afford it, I guarantee a couple $100 a month, to help pay for a policy is a heck of a lot cheaper than paying $5,000 or $6,000 a month for them to be in an assisted living facility.
You made a good point. I think that bigger picture that you said is make sure everyone's a part of the conversation.
Right.
The people who need to be a part of the conversation, make them a part of it so they feel like there's a part. It's almost like whenever you do a group activity, you want to make sure that everybody feels connected.
Right.
Versus we're dictating what's going on. And at least if it's almost like one of those collective pieces, when there's times that you have to put your foot down, it's going to be received in a lot better space and place because you've been having the conversation the whole time. So those are definite points. And I'm just shaking my head because, and I'm sure all of us are aware of situations either close to home or further away from home where when that hasn't happened, it's putting a lot of stress, not just financial stress, just stress in general. And it's like, how are you going to be the best you can be if you're falling out and whatnot because of this stressor or that stressor? So again, it's not about perfection. It's about what can be done to make a tough situation a lot more manageable and a lot more workable. And the light that you see at the end of the tunnel is really that proverbial light versus like a head-on train or car getting ready to like smack you upside the head, basically. So just some things to think about.
So if you have any questions about what documents you should be asking your parents or older loved ones that they have, feel free to email us at timelytalk404.
She's smoother with it than me. You let the experts do it. So
at timelytalk404@gmail.com. And we'll be back with our next segment.